Welcome back to It's All Geek to Me, a podcast about two geeks who have recently traveled to a different dimension. I'm your co-host, Leah.
I'm Kelly.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Actually, this is going to be very confusing.
It's someone's first episode.
Okay, so I am actually Kelly, but I did recently travel to a different dimension.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to tell this story.
I would love for you to tell the story because The Matrix isn't different dimensions, but it's a different kind of world, so I feel like it works. I feel like dimension hopping could totally happen in the world of the Matrix.
Yeah, or I could have just been switched to a different program for a second.
Exactly. So do you want to tell us your story? Which I love, by the way.
First, I should say, we're doing The Matrix.
Yeah. This is the first half of The Matrix. We watched up to an hour and 4 minutes.
Yeah, we're watching it for the first time for me.
And I'm the expert.
And you're the expert. Should we go back to the past?
Let's go back to the past, and we'll give you our pre-thoughts on The Matrix. We're back in these outfits again.
These same outfits. You know, I was really excited to wear this shirt because I think it's a little geeky.
No refunds?
Well, the back is geeky, but I don't know if you're able to see it.
Oh, it's like magical artifacts and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like a shop owner.
Oh, I love it.
From like
that is
a
very geeky.
D&D kind of game.
Well, we're here back in these outfits. We recorded our pre-thoughts for the Matrix movie. Back to me being the expert. Mm-hmm. And I just have to say, I'm so excited.
For some reason, I'm a little apprehensive about it.
Why?
I don't know. Like, something about it is unsettling as an idea. Like, I know what the Matrix... Like, when people say, like, oh, glitch in the Matrix, we should have a whole discussion on this after the movie.
Yes.
I think we both agree that we believe in the simulation theory.
Yeah, that is a theory I definitely, not, like, fully subscribe to, because I don't want to be, like, spewing conspiracy theories on here, but my thing is...
I would love to believe it, is what I'm saying.
I agree with that. I would love to believe it. I think it's, like, extremely plausible. I actually did like a whole paper on this in college.
Really?
Yeah, and I got an A+, baby.
What class?
It was when I was studying abroad. It was a film class.
Oh, I was gonna say, why didn't I read it?
It was when I was away. It was a film class, and the paper was about the Matrix and how it can be applied to the real world. And I used a documentary about like DMT as a source material too, something about that. But yeah, no, I think that it's plausible that the Matrix does exist, and I honestly would be totally fine with it. And I'll say more on that once you've seen the first half of the movie. But one thing I'll say about The Matrix, I reference this movie all the time. And I'm like in The Matrix. And then I'm like, Kelly's never seen it. And I'm so excited for you to see it.
Well, should we talk about our history of it?
Yeah, you tell me first.
Okay. Because I don't have a history of it.
That's it.
That's it.
Except that I reference it all the time.
I know. I think when I was in high school, maybe the third one came out. I remember I was walking by the living room and my parents were watching it. And a guy had lost his memory. And he was like, I don't know where these scars are from. And that's all I know.
Okay.
So
that's not the first movie, so
I know everything.
Yeah, great. Well, something you definitely do know, because I've mentioned it before. I don't know if you know what it means.
I know that the main character is Neo, and I know that that's an anagram for one, because he's the one, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there. I feel like it's supposed to be like an allegory for Jesus, maybe. So that's just my thought. I don't...
Audio listeners did not see the face I just made.
That's what I think. Like, I think obviously like he's like the chosen one. He's supposed to be like the Messiah or whatever. But in this world, it's more of like a digital Messiah.
Okay.
So like I know the Matrix is like we live in a simulation and he knows we're in a simulation.
Yeah.
So he has to, I don't know, end it? No, that doesn't sound right. He has to, I don't know. What happens once you're aware? I guess meet his maker.
Find out.
He has to meet his maker.
This is what I want to bring up because I know
Mr. Anderson. I know that.
Mr. Anderson.
I only know that.
Who is from Lord of the Rings, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
We discussed that in Lord of the Rings. The only reason that I really knew that, I might have mentioned this in Lord of the Rings, was because of a Cinderella story with Hilary Duff, with that nerdy guy who was like Mr. Anderson.
Oh.
Do you remember it?
No, I don't remember that.
Great movie.
I just remember Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah.
Hottie.
No.
He was such a heartthrob back then.
Back then. But like, not now.
No, not my type now, but back then.
That's all I know. So now tell me your history.
Well, something I've mentioned to you before, and I'd be like, oh, are you a red pill or a blue pill? Which I hate this, that conservatives have taken over the meaning of red pill, because it is a Matrix thing, but they've taken it over as like a conspiracy.
I know, there's the subreddit.
Whatever, but that's not what I'm talking about.
I don't know which pill is the good pill and which pill is bad.
I know what pill you are. I know 100% what pill you are.
I want to stay in it. I want to stay in the simulation.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to tell you, but I was right.
I'm assuming I'm the blue pill because red pill is a Reddit
waking up and being aware. Yeah. And I
don't recommend that subreddit. I've never been.
No, oh my God, no. We're not supporting that at all. But The Matrix, we love. Well, I love The Matrix. I guess we'll see.
I don't have any love for it.
But my history with The Matrix, actually, so you know how sometimes a big moment happens, you can like visualize where you were. Mm-hmm. And that's what I have with this. I like know exactly where I was, like the surroundings. And I just thought it was like mind blowing. Like it changed my life. Because it got me.
It'll change my life?
I don't know. We'll see if it changes your life.
I would say Star Wars changed my life. Lord of the Rings didn't. Spirited Away, maybe a little
changed
bit.
Your life. I think overall the story is really interesting. As I said, like I am really interested in like the Matrix concept and the Matrix theory. So like this movie is what began that for me. Like watching this movie like made me think maybe this is real. Maybe this is possible.
Am I going to be freaked out? Maybe.
I don't think so. Because I mean, I have more thoughts on it on like the Matrix and the simulation and the benefits of it versus, the non-benefits of it.
I accidentally traveled dimensions recently. Remember
That's a crazy thing. You want to tell that story?
I don't know if I should tell it now or if I should tell it halfway
next time.
through.
Yeah, once you've seen it. But this isn't dimension traveling, so it's kind of different.
Oh, it is. Boring. No, I'm just kidding.
It's just like simulation. I loved the new one. I thought the new one was such a great way to continue the franchise. I don't think that, or not to continue the franchise, but just kind of button the franchise a little bit. Because also, I'm not sure if you know this, but the directors of the writers and directors of the film, the Wachowski sisters, at the time of releasing 1, 2, and 3 were the Wachowski brothers.
Oh, I did know that.
Yeah. Actually. And so the fourth movie was really interesting because it kind of showed their experience as trans women a little bit. Like there was like definitely like underlying themes of transness. Yeah. And I think that's an interesting perspective to go in even watching the entire franchise because obviously they were trans the whole time.
Yeah, I wonder
even if they weren't out, they were trans, so.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is I wonder what the like themes are that aren't a part of the movie, but like that you can interpret. Like I was just saying, I guarantee an interpretation of it, assuming that
is a Jesus interpretation.
Is a Jesus thing. I'm sure there's also other versions that are like, this is the interpretation of what it's like to be a closeted trans person, stuff like that.
Yeah. So it is really interesting watching it with that perspective, knowing that like years later, they both came out as trans women.
Yeah, I will say, I hope that we're not in a simulation. I like comforting my anxiety by saying that everything is random.
I'll just say I love these movies. I probably watch them annually. I do hope that you like it. Mm-hmm. I think there's elements of it that you're really gonna like.
Yeah. Something sexy?
I don't know, maybe.
I love.
But I'm curious. So Neo, the red pill, the blue pill, the simulation.
Mr. Anderson.
But you don't know who that is.
The guy that's like, it's just the one guy who's always the same looking.
But do you know his name?
Mr. Anderson.
Why would he say his own name?
I don't know. You know that Office quote where he's like, do you even know her last name? And he's like, she's going to be screaming it tonight. Why? You're going to be screaming her own last name.
Yes.
I just butchered that, but it's very
I know.
funny.
Yes, I know the quote you're talking about, though.
Yeah, so he's not saying his own name.
No.
Well, he looks like a Mr. Anderson.
Well, I guess we'll find out who Mr. Anderson is, but what's your big old prediction?
I know there's a girl that you're like a big fan of. Well, I should say woman.
Yeah, she's a woman.
Adult woman.
She is an adult woman.
And I know, I feel like there's some elements. I remember somebody saying if I liked Alice in Wonderland, I would like it.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a similar sort of,
Alice's
setup.
Adventures in Wonderland.
Okay.
I know someone's going to say it.
Okay.
It's just so much faster to say Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You don't have to say it. It's like Frankenstein's monster. Everyone knows that Frankenstein is the real monster.
I don't think that everybody knows that.
Well, no, Frankenstein is the doctor, but the joke being that Frankenstein is the monster.
I know.
Because he created.
Oh, yeah, because he is the monster, because he created the monster. So he is the monster.
Well, because it's I don't know. I actually never saw or read Frankenstein. But
I did. It's honestly a very good book.
It's a little evil to create life from
nothing. Yeah. Well, little aside.
So should we jump back to the future?
Well, do you have any other predictions? Besides that it's like Alice in Wonderland and Mr. Anderson.
They were dead the whole time? I don't know.
Don't even talk to me about Lost. Have you seen Lost?
I was not lost. I was doing a Bruce Willis thing. I do think that they were dead the whole time.
I don't.
That was purgatory.
Don't get me started.
But also, didn't the writers say, like, we had no idea what we were doing?
Let's go back to the future, everybody, and watch... What movie are we watching?
Lost.
The Matrix. We'll watch half The Matrix, and we'll let you know what Kelly thought.
See you soon. See you in a second. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Did we just travel in time?
That was so crazy.
That was cool.
Well, welcome back to the future.
So we're back. I watched part 1. It was enlightening. But let me tell you how I traveled dimensions.
Yes, please. This is a good story. I've actually told people.
You have?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So let me tell you the story of how I accidentally traveled to a different dimension. So I'm married. My partner Ryan and I went to the grocery store.
This is Ryan. If you haven't met him yet.
He is real.
He always joins us for the podcast, and Kelly always forgets that he's here.
People are going to listen in audio and be like, wait, Ryan?
They're like, Ryan face reveal?
So Ryan and I, we had 2 errands that we had to run one day. It was just a random, like, afternoon after work kind of situation. We ran out of milk, almond milk, obviously, because I'm lactose intolerant. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with everybody. I have IBS.
All hot girls have tummy issues.
True. Except the hotter the girl, the worse the tummy issues.
I'm an anomaly.
Okay.
Or I'm not a hot girl.
Existential crisis. So we had to get almond milk and we needed gas. Ryan was like, why don't I just drop you off at the grocery store? Because it's walking distance from the gas station. I'll go get gas while you get the milk. I'm also like super self-conscious of how I say milk.
Milk. You say it fine.
I do? Okay. Because some people are like, milk.
Milk.
I say it M-E-L-K, but people are like, it's moog.
Well, I think it was fine. I didn't notice.
Okay. Well, now they're going to notice. But anyway. So I go to the grocery store. I run in. I'm going fast. This is a fast task.
And you know where the milk is?
I knew where the milk was.
Yeah.
Ran, grabbed it, self-checkout, done. Okay, have the milk. I actually bought 2 containers of
Kelly.
milk. What?
Now that you said it, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying I did a weird gesture.
No, the milk. I hear it now.
Okay, well, don't be mean.
Don't be mean in the comments. If we see one milk comment, we're blocking you.
Yeah, right. Leah's gonna be like, I know, right?
Milk.
I'm sorry, I say words weird. So I grabbed the milk and I have I have one in each hand. This is a heavy occasion, okay? Because like Ryan and I both drink it, so like we need a lot.
I usually get 2 also, and I'm one person.
Okay,
so.
yeah, that was like less than 2 minutes because I just ran in, ran out, no line. So I was like, I'll just go to the gas station and I'll just meet him there. So I walk over to the gas station. I don't see the car, so I'm like looking. I go through all the bays. The car's not there, and I'm like, wow, he must have gotten the gas fast. So I'll go back to the grocery store because we had said in the beginning, if you finish the gas before I get out of the grocery store, just park in the grocery parking lot.
And I'll find you.
Yeah. So then I walk back to the grocery parking lot. I don't see his car. So I'm like, whatever, I'll just call him. So I call him. Your call could not be connected.
This is the weird part.
Yeah. The phone number does not exist. The phone number is disconnected. So I was like, that's weird. Are we in a no service area? So I text him and I'm like, where are you? Your phone's not working, which obviously did not work because it said like message undelivered. And I was like, what's going on? Where is he? So I'm like, I'll just find his car. So I start walking up and down all the aisles of the entire grocery store parking lot. His car is not there, Leah. It was not there. So at this point, I start calling him over and over again. Your call cannot be connected. And I'm like freaking out. I start crying because what?
I mean, that's a big deal. You cry over nothing, and that's a big deal. You switch dimensions, and you don't have a husband.
Yeah, I'm like, I got a jug of milk in each hand. Stop laughing at me.
She's got a jug of milk.
I got a jug of milk in each hand. Milk. I can't say it normal. I have a jug of milk in each hand. I'm freaking out. It's also hot out. We live in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's hot. The milk is sweating. I'm sweating. I'm freaking out. I don't see him at all. I'm calling him nonstop. I'm texting him. None of it's going through. And I'm like, I have 4 bars. I'm good. I have like whatever 5G service it is. It's fine. It should be working. It should be working just fine. I'm looking in every single aisle. I'm looking at every car. I don't want to say the color of the car, but I'm looking at
make.
Yeah, I'm looking at every car that's the same color, even if it's not the same make. Because I'm like,
maybe I don't remember what kind of car he has.
You know, it's possible.
Yeah.
I'm looking. He's not there. I start crying. I'm freaking out. At this point, it's been like 5 minutes. He is not in this parking lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he is, and his phone's not connected to this universe. So I walk out into the middle of the street like a child. I'm like looking around frantically with my jugs.
Tears streaming down her face.
Tears streaming down my face. Like, where is he? A Tesla comes.
Of course it's a Tesla.
It's always a Tesla. No offense to any Tesla drivers. Everybody has a Tesla in Las Vegas, it feels like. So, well, now they know I don't have a Tesla.
Well, it's not a Tesla.
Yeah, so I wasn't looking at the Tesla. So a car comes, stops short right in front of me. Girl like leans out the car. She's like my my age or younger. And she's like, get the F out of the road. And I'm like, F you. You know, we're
still crying.
I'm sobbing. But I'm also from New Jersey. So like,
yeah, the Jersey came out a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's a parking lot. Like, I'm allowed to stand
That's what
here.
I say to people. I'm like, my Jersey accent, I think, is pretty subdued, unless I get mad.
Yeah.
Then I'll be Jersey for
my
you.
My Jersey accent is always there, I think, but my Jersey attitude
the Jersey
comes out when I'm mad. So I think that me almost getting hit by a car, or me maybe in another dimension getting hit by a car, jolted me back to my dimension because I look up from the commotion and Ryan's in the first spot. And I was like, he would have seen me crying.
Yeah, he would have seen you like running around and stuff.
So, and then I get in the car, I'm sobbing at this point, and he's like, what took you so long? I've been waiting here for like 10 minutes. And then he's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, Ryan, your phone is off. And he's like, no, it's not. He shows me. I try to call him. It works.
It works. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in the same exact spot. So I know it wasn't his dead service area. So I was like, Ryan, I was in another dimension and I freaking out. And also our milk.
It's pretty warm at this point.
It's pretty warm. Yeah. We went home and I just cried for a while. And he was like, I don't know what just happened.
Well, my theory on this that I said to you was that I do believe either you jumped into like another consciousness of yours in a different dimension, or you went to a dimension where you didn't exist. But if you went to a dimension where you did exist, I believe that you died in that dimension and you got hit by the car.
Yeah,
which is good because you'll never go back there where there's no Ryan.
Yeah.
So
or
good.
he doesn't live here.
Yeah. Well, that's a crazy glitch in the Matrix.
You think? Oh my gosh, yeah. I forgot we were doing this.
That we're talking about.
So anyway, I have a lot of experience with the Matrix.
Well, and we did mention this in our pre-thoughts that we both, not that we fully believe that the Matrix is real, but we want to believe. And what's that from? I Want to Believe. That's that other geeky show, X-Files. Anyway.
I never saw it.
Oh my God. Actually, that's one of my fun facts. Gillian Anderson, who's the lead in X-Files, was considered for the role of Trinity.
Wow.
Look at that.
We should
around.
actually talk about what happens in the movie because this is one of your faves.
Oh, one of my faves. Yeah.
I don't know why I made that face. I actually think it's cool so far. Depending on how it ends. I might like it.
Ooh, I'm so excited to hear your predictions. Because what I will say about this first part, because I've never watched it in two sections before, it's all set up.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of action.
No, there's not. There's not. But I mean, I don't like too much going on. Like I like character driven stuff. Mm-hmm. So I hope it doesn't get too action movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a little bit more, but I thought it was a good place to cut. It just felt like
I had a prediction in the beginning of the film that I was right about based on the cliffhanger. We'll get there.
Oh, the cliffhanger.
Don't you worry. Yeah. Let me pull up my notes. Oh, yeah. And by the way, I did want to say, I didn't talk about it during our pre-thoughts. There's some stuff that I did know about the Matrix. I knew the bullets.
Okay. Well, so that hasn't happened yet, but you know that will happen. So that's some action.
Yeah.
That will happen the the bullets.
Yeah. Or it could be a training program. We don't know.
Oh, true. That's, I forget what I said.
Yeah.
You'll never know until you watch
I'll
this.
never know until this afternoon.
Yeah.
So I knew that. And then I've seen a lot of graphics with like the binary code, like the ones and zeros.
Yes.
With green text over black. I mean, that's not specifically Matrix, but I think like the falling.
Well, in the Matrix, I didn't write it down specifically, but those numbers and codes were a combination of things. So it's ones and zeros, but they also put in Japanese letters, I think, and the Wachowski sisters.
Not really binary.
Yeah.
Which is ironic.
But the Wachowski sisters, Lana and Lily, were very inspired by anime when making this film.
I could tell.
Could you tell? Yeah. But get us started. Our first scene.
This is like a Weeb's Paradise movie.
Yeah.
I know, you're a weeb. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to say that. My best friend's a weeb.
I'm a weeb. I'm allowed to say that.
I'm just kidding. I love weebs. I'm half weeb.
I'm a happy weeb. Proud weeb.
I'm not that proud. So yeah, so we actually start with, and I mentioned, I think, Alice in Wonderland going into it because I had heard, there were some things that I wasn't sure if I heard them or if I knew them from hearing about the Matrix, but I think all of it is right, but we'll get there. Actually, this started off with a phone call, which I had no idea what was going on, but now I know that it was Trinity and Morpheus talking about how about Neo was going to be the one. But so we start off with Neo. He's a hacker.
We started with Trinity.
We started with Trinity.
Remember that first scene with Trinity, which I wanted to talk about that because a lot of what I want to talk about and like my fun facts and stuff are, talk about this movie from a trans perspective. Yeah. And I just think starting the movie with your strong female lead rather than like your strong male lead, that's just not a normal thing you would see in a movie from this time.
I have conflicting thoughts on her so far.
Okay.
Which I'll tell you about at the end.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt your feelings. But I also
You're allowed to have your own feelings and thoughts.
This movie strikes me as being quite religious as well.
Which is so interesting to me, and I feel like it's going to be very hard for me to comment on that until we watch the second half of this movie, but I
have a prediction.
Okay, yeah. I'll have a lot more to say about that next time.
I think that I'm going to be so right. I know Frodo in the ring and all that stuff. I have good...
Frodo bringing the ring to Mordor for his wife.
I said partner.
Yeah, that's true.
It could have been Sam.
It probably was.
Yeah. So we start with Trinity. She's in the Matrix, as we find out. One thing I do want to mention that I thought was really cool, the green filter.
Yes, so
very
that was...
early 2000s vibes, although I did find out it's 1999, right?
It's 1999, but that was one of my fun facts, was that when they were in the Matrix, everything is tinted green, and they pulled a lot of the blues out. But when you're in the real world, that filter isn't there.
Yeah.
So they wanted it to seem like you were watching it through a screen.
Which is also interesting because their little code that's not binary, their non-binary
Their
code
non-binary code
is all green. But it was also like, it was giving a little bit of The Ring, which I keep talking about on this
We
podcast.
love The Ring. No, I love The Ring
We
too.
should
so
do The Ring episode. Wouldn't that be fun? I wonder if Samara's going to give the ring to her partner. So we get a little glimpse of what the Matrix is about and what this group of hackers, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get a lot of backstory on all of them. I have to assume that not everybody who's like in tuned to the Matrix is a hacker, but Trinity and Neo do happen to be hackers, and those are their call signs, basically. Usernames.
Yeah. They're hacker names. They're elite names. Wait, do you remember elite speak? Is that still a thing? Elite 1337?
I don't know what that is.
Like you're an elite hacker.
Oh, I'm not a hacker.
But it wasn't actual hack. It's like the same when people is like hacked your MySpace account, but it's just you left it
You're
logged
like,
in.
I'm a coder, but you just like coded your MySpace page.
That actually was, that was good coding.
It was.
I didn't have a MySpace, but I did do coding for Neopets.
I hope it doesn't exist. Neopets.
They had a lot of coding things too. Here's my thoughts on Neopets. No, I'm just kidding.
Neo,
the one pet.
the one pet.
So when we first get to Neo, he's a nerd.
Yeah.
You know, I'm shocked that he has his own place and he's not like in his mom's basement doing coding.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because that's like the vibe.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be like sexier than that, you know?
Which he's
an independent man.
He's a very beautiful man.
I agree. Yeah.
And his skin.
So beautiful.
Incredible.
And also, I've just heard that Keanu Reeves as a human is such a good person.
Everything I've heard about him is good. Well, not about his life, but everything I've heard about him as a person is good.
Oh, yeah, that's
He
what
said a very sad life.
Yeah. But I think as a person, he's very good, and he like deserves the fame he got, because he was not the first person to get offered this role.
Is this was his breakout role?
This was not his breakout role, but because he did
Bill and Ted.
Will and Ted before that's what I said. Will and Ted.
Yeah. Oh yes, Will and Grace.
He did that before. This wasn't his breakout role, but I think it did break him. It wasn't his first role.
It wasn't him. I hope it didn't break him. It wasn't his first role, but it was his breakout.
It was his breakout.
So I was right.
Who they originally offered it to and turned it down because he didn't understand the concept and he thought it would flop. Will Smith.
Really?
Yeah.
That would have been, if Will Smith had been in it. I shouldn't even say this now because he's like not great anymore, but like as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Fully obsessed with him. If Will Smith had starred in this movie, that would have been a movie that I watched over and over and over and over again as a kid.
But I think it would have been so different because he's even said too, he said it was one of the biggest mistakes of his career. I think he's doing fine, but he said it was one of the mistakes of his career. He also said that if he had done it at that point in his career, he wouldn't have done a good job of it.
Yeah.
So he offered it, turned it down, and then they were between...
We should do iRobot. That's also one of my favorite movies.
Me too.
Leah. Why have we not talked about iRobot?
I feel like we have before.
That's not the only reason. Obviously, Three Ninjas cult Converse, but like Will Smith with his vintage 2004 Converse.
Yeah. Oh my God, we should. So then they were between two people. They were between Keanu Reeves and Johnny Depp. And the reason that it went to Keanu Reeves over Johnny Depp was because Keanu Reeves was really like committed to the material. So the book that he opens up, that's like a fake book in that first scene, Simulacra and Simulation, they made them read that before they even gave them the script. And it could just tell that he was really committed to like learning about the world, and that went into the final casting decision. I'm glad that they picked
Keanu, because I think that...
Yeah, I think he was perfect for this.
I do think that Johnny Depp has given a lot of power to the roles that he has, but I don't know that I could see him as like a hacker nerd.
No,
kind of
I
guy.
couldn't see him as that character.
Like
at all.
I think that Keanu was perfectly cast.
I agree.
Both of us going,
we love it.
So his computer actually like wakes him up. It's like, wake up, Neo. And then it's like, follow the white rabbit. And then it also says knock, knock. And then immediately there's a knock on the door.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
I love that.
That's the kind of, I have chills. That's the kind of stuff that like, I'm like, we live in a simulation.
Yeah.
Because there have been other moments where I'm like, we do live in a simulation. I'm sure it's happened to you so many times. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
We talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
well, this idea of fate, free will, all that kind of stuff.
Which comes up a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
So he gets a knock on the door. It's like a drug deal, but for hacker stuff. I'm going to be honest.
I don't think it's that important.
Yeah. I don't really have like a knowledge of that world or like black market computers.
Yeah, no, it's not important.
But one of the people that the guy that he does his little drug computer deal with has a white rabbit tattoo with white, which I'm like, how prevalent was white ink back then?
I mean, white ink even now is really hard to get to stick. They probably like painted that on. That was not a real tattoo. No, not at all.
But yeah, so he goes to a club. He meets Trinity there.
Yeah.
He actually recognizes her.
He recognizes her name.
Well, yeah, based on her name.
Yeah.
Because like when you're an elite hacker.
Yeah, which he is. But what did he say to her? I thought you were a man.
He does say that. Yeah. Oh, is this?
No, I mean, it's just,
Well, if we're going to be bringing up that you think that this is a trans perspective, which I agree, the drug deal guy also referred to Neo as his own personal Jesus Christ.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, I've missed that of all the times that
he
I've
said,
seen
dude,
this.
you're my savior. You're my own personal Jesus Christ. And I was like, that's a religious film. I'm not saying I want it to be a religious film. I just suspected, based on all the conversations I've heard of, like, back when it first came out, did you know that Neo is an anagram for the one? Which, why were people in my grade school, like, freaking out about that when it's so obvious?
Yeah, it's 3 letters.
And also they say so many times, he's the one.
He's the one.
So, like, people were always saying that in school when I was younger. People must have said, like, oh, it's like Jesus.
Well, I think that this movie, too, is, like, very open to interpretation. It's a good podcast movie because I think there are so many perspectives that you can talk about.
Yeah. Well, obviously, watching it for the first time, I had the lens of knowing that it was trans filmmakers talking, indirectly about the trans experience. I see that a lot. I also saw a lot of religious things, but I will say, I have a feeling that for religious people, it's probably sacrilegious.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
So, like, as much as I'm saying it's a religious film, I think it just takes from religious stories, is what I'm saying.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't think they're, like, pushing a religious agenda with this film.
This is not The Lion and the Witch of the Wardrobe.
Yeah, no, yeah.
The only other religious movie I could think of. I'm sure there's others.
There are others.
But yeah, no, every time there's a religious mention, I was like, I was right. And I wrote it down, so. Yeah.
Well, I think another way to look at it, and kind of for me and why I connected with it so much, was this idea, and I think this is also not me speaking from the trans perspective, but I think it's sort of parallel to it. When I was younger and I was a child, feeling like I didn't fit in anywhere and I didn't belong anywhere and people didn't understand me. And I think that was my takeaway from it and why I connected with it so much, which I think is a lot of experiences that trans people have. Like, there was one quote I wrote down specifically that he said when Morpheus and him were talking for the first time.
Although while you're looking for that, I also want to say that Trinity, the stuff that she was saying when they first met each other, also struck me as a little religious, because she was like, I know you're looking for him, like, you know what path you're going on and
but
stuff.
See, I was interpreting that as you're looking for, like, yourself. You're looking for who you are outside of, like, the sheep mentality and the societal norms that you've been born into. Yeah. There's something else out there for you. The one quote from Morpheus was, you know something, what you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You've known it your entire life. And I heard that line and I was like, that is so transcoded.
That's so funny, because I was like,
you're like, that's religion
that's
coded.
Jesus coded. That sounds like Jesus.
It's so funny, the different interpretations.
It also actually weirdly reminded me a lot of drug use, in like you've been down this path before, like you're almost like turning over a new leaf, being like this person who's aware of your experience.
Yes, that's what I mean, is like there's so many interpretations that you can take from it, because
I bet there's so many good video essays.
Oh my gosh, definitely. There have to be.
Yeah,
for sure.
I gotta finish the movie, but then I'll watch them.
Yeah, and see like what else.
Yeah. I like this like this versus. Like, I'm like, no, it's religious, and you're like no, it's trans.
Trans representation.
It could be both.
It could be both, and that's
we know objectively.
But also because like when this movie came out, the conversation I'm having was not the conversation around the film, because they were not out yet.
Well, that actually brings up another interesting perspective, because it makes me wonder if they used that as a metaphor for it. Because I think also when you think about religion in that way, if you are a person who I guess is not religious and becomes religious, you're like becoming a whole new person.
Yeah.
So like I almost wonder if that was the cover, that like one day this could be interpreted the way that we really mean it.
100%. And there also were things in the film that they wanted to add that they weren't allowed to. So Switch, for example.
I knew that character was supposed to be non-binary. I wrote them down. I just wrote they because I was like, they never say their name is Switch.
They never changed their name. So their name stayed the same. But originally the character was supposed to present male in the real world and female in the Matrix. But the studio said no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it still strikes me as that character being either
non-binary.
Yeah, non-binary or gender fluid. I mean, the name, I would say, points
the name is so obvious. Yeah.
And also the way that they presented themselves in a very gender neutral way, which
I loved that. And they were the only one in white, which I loved
that.
too.
I actually was so curious about. I'm curious how it plays out in the end because it almost gave me the vibe that like they're going to be a guardian angel kind of character. So I'm curious to see, maybe they'll do some saving since they're an angel of God.
We'll see. Of God. An angel of the LGBT.
Yeah, the non-binary.
Our guardian angel.
Angel of God. So, and I did note that when he meets Morpheus, which, can we talk about the filmmaking of the eyes, glasses, whatever?
I forgot something.
Is this... Oh. No. No.
I meant to put these on at the beginning of the episode.
I wouldn't be able to take you
like
seriously. No, you have the side things.
I know. Well, I don't have this. I don't know how they did that, but it made like a clicking noise when he put them on.
It was
like,
really
click.
cool. Maybe he has like a little broken nose or something.
Maybe. But I did like those glasses. They're very cool.
Yeah. Well, what I really liked about them is throughout the film so far, you see moments that happen, especially
through
with
the glasses.
The red pill, blue pill, but it happens a couple other times. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. But yes, I interpret Morpheus to be God.
Okay.
So I feel like, especially when he was like explaining things, he's looking for his chosen one, Jesus. By the way, when he is getting found out at his job and he needs to like run away, why did that very high window not have a screen and had a way to open all the way? That bothered me.
It's the Matrix.
That's actually a good point. Yeah.
Oh, can be explained.
Yeah, I guess that can be explained. But yeah, that was bothering me because even I've lived in a building where I was like 10 plus floors up and they wouldn't let us open our doors.
But I mean,
windows.
this is also 1999. I feel like these are things that are probably implemented later. Oh, another thing, the belly button, that was ick. I hate that part. I usually don't watch that part.
That was really upsetting.
Yeah. But I like when he's in the car, he's like, that thing was real.
But you know what was cool actually? Was that, it was like obviously a live creature when it came out of him, but when they threw it out of the car, it just became metal. So
rain damage.
I thought that's not what I thought. It was in his head. Well, not in his head, but it was like not really real.
Really real, yeah.
This sounds like you're making fun of me. But
what? No, I'm telling you.
Like really real.
Yeah, it wasn't really real, Kelly. But what is real? Welcome to the desert of the real.
Oh.
It's a quote from the movie.
Oh, I was like,
when he's like explaining, he's like, this is what the world you think looks like. And then he's like, welcome to the desert of the real.
I actually did write that down. I'm embarrassed that
I'm embarrassed for you.
A lot has happened in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, this is like an hour of content.
It's like a lot. It's like exposition.
So much.
Yeah.
So he does get caught by the agents.
Yeah.
Which I thought that they were Mr. Anderson. Here's the thing. They don't really say Mr. Anderson. I thought that was going to be like their thing.
No, he says it like once.
Yeah, he just says Mr. Anderson.
But do you know his
Thomas
name?
Anderson.
Yeah, Thomas Anderson.
Oh, the guy...
The agent.
I watched it with subtitles, so I know the main guy was named Smith.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something bad.
Tell me. Be bad.
I kind of thought he was hot.
I can see it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's hot in The Lord of the Rings.
I was actually going to say it's funny because I strongly don't think he's hot in The Lord of the Rings. There's something
That's
about...
me and Kelly's type.
Yeah. It's just so funny because he was like, I was like, no, it doesn't work for me as like an elf. But like him as just like a middle-aged man. I was like, okay.
You hear that, Ryan?
I love me some like middle-aged white-collar men.
He's not middle-aged though. Ryan's not middle-aged.
Oh, Ryan's not.
Ryan's my age.
Why are you saying it like I'm that much older? Oh my gosh. I'm a puma. He's not.
You guys are like 6 months apart.
Yeah, we're not far in age. He's just like 10 years younger than me. No, I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be wild?
That would be insane.
Well, only because I feel like, well, actually, I mean, I'm very mature, but I think that men mature a little bit slower.
Yeah, I know.
I do think Ryan's more mature than me, though.
I can see it.
So that's when they put the thing in his belly.
Yeah.
They also cover his mouth up with
Which I loved.
skin.
He's like, well, how are you gonna say
I thought that when
speak?
that first happened, I thought they were like gonna beat him up.
Oh,
like,
no, they
so
just
that he
closed
like
his
was
mouth.
unconscious, but no, they just sealed
No, I
his mouth
loved that
shut.
part. I thought that was
Very
cool.
crazy. I'm a little bit confused. What can change in the Matrix?
Whatever your mind believes, baby.
So theoretically, anybody can change stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's a strong-willed person. It's the knowledge of it. It's the one.
Only Neo can do it.
Because,
but
I mean,
also-
you do see things change in this section a few times.
Yeah. I know I saw like part of the third movie maybe, but I always thought that all of the agents were the same guy, but it's not. There's like multiple guys.
I do believe that that's just this movie. I think in the future it's just Smith.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
I'm pretty
because
sure.
I know I've seen like a little hint of the third movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty
That's so
sure it's just
interesting.
Smith the whole time after this.
Wow. Well, now
If I
we know
remember
he
correctly.
doesn't die. So thank you for the spoiler. Just kidding. I don't know if he can die. I think they mentioned that he maybe
I mean,
can't.
he's not real.
Yeah, he's
But
like
again,
a program or
what
whatever.
is real?
Okay. So anyway, so he does go to Morpheus. Morpheus kind of explains the thing to him, gives him the
Take
red
the red
pill
pill,
and the
you take
blue
the blue
pill.
pill.
Did we already ask each other which pill would you take?
Oh, you're a blue pill.
Blue pill, 100%.
I think I'm a blue pill too. Honestly, I've said this before, but if I got thrust into adventure, I'm in. But if I've given the choice, I'm staying in the Matrix.
What would happen if I got thrust into an adventure? I would
You would just fall on the
fetal
ground.
position.
Yeah. And actually, Lana and Lily Wachowski, blue pills.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's interesting. Has Keanu Reeves answered?
I don't know, actually.
He strikes me as a red pill
He strikes me
kinda
as a red
guy.
pill because he's actually trained in like martial arts and stuff. So
He must be.
they had to do a lot of martial arts training. I think I read it was like 4 months of training, but he was already trained in martial arts and jujitsu.
Really?
And,
Yeah, he's so
something
perfect
else.
for this
I don't
role.
remember. Yeah, he's perfect. But another fun fact about the pills. So I said the Wachowskis, blue pills, but the red pills, the way that they were designed were very similar to what estrogen pills looked like in the 90s.
Really? Wow, that is such a fun little fact.
I know. I learned that this time around.
Oh, wow. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Quick question. Were the sisters transitioning at the time of making this film? or
No,
not?
I'm pretty sure all 3 films were out already when they transitioned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was very like veiled references to
100%.
things.
Yeah. And even like I said, with the studio saying that Switch could only be one gender, they weren't going to be able to make this movie if they were outright with this information.
Yeah. This movie felt so peak like what we thought the future felt like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like with the cell phones. I loved that was like a huge part of the Matrix was like they're whipping out their flip phones and they were like, where are you? Like,
Well, the phones in general were such a huge part because that's how they like transport.
yeah,
in between
even the
and
pay
stuff.
phones, like we don't even
Yeah.
have those anymore. If they just the same people, the same directors, the same crew, everything, just did the exact same movie now, but just slightly. Oh, did they?
You might want to watch The Matrix 4.
Really? Oh, fun. Because, yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, it's like so interesting, but I love watching movies from that era.
Yeah, me too.
I hate even calling it that era because I'm like, isn't that
I mean,
now?
it's like dated now. You know, like the 90s is a period piece now.
Maybe don't say that to me.
Hurt my feelings.
It's hard to hear. It's
Yeah.
hard to hear that. So basically, The Matrix is everything, as I've learned. Because I wasn't 100% sure going into it, like what. Like I knew it was like, oh, we're in the Matrix, it's a glitch in the
simulation.
Matrix, but like I wasn't sure how it was going to play out.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the world is just created. And they did, I thought it was interesting. They said it was like the peak of humanity was the time.
When they
which-
were making AI relevant
Yeah.
to today.
Yeah, that was crazy because I was like, that's actually kind of like an interesting / relevant to today conversation. That
Yeah.
like it was a war between humans and AI.
And AI, and we scorched the sky.
Yeah.
We were the ones.
Yeah, but we're actually the source of energy for them now because we are even more powerful than this guy.
Which I'm kind of like, is that the worst existence? Because they gave you something to look at.
Yeah.
They built a whole world for us.
That's true. That's
Stockholm
true.
Syndrome right here setting
Yeah.
in.
It could be a little bit more utopia.
Yeah, I think that they could have done a better job.
Could have made it happier.
Yeah, and also my question always is how many people are actually there? Because the world has 7 billion people, but
Yeah.
not this world doesn't. Like there's a lot of programs that are walking around as people.
But the fields that we saw, there's a lot.
Pretty big fields, yeah.
I mean, like, if you took all of humanity and, like, put them side by side, you could fit a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
You could fit a lot more. But yeah, I would be an NPC, I think. In the
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'll just say the same thing over and over again.
I'll take Mouse's Red Lady.
I actually already say, like, if you watch my YouTube channel, I just say the same thing over and over again. Like, I just have a script. I am a real life NPC.
I mean, I think that's another part of this movie of, you know, like waking up to the world that you're in, the monotony of it, and like living your life for you.
This was really like edgy content. I'm not saying it the way that I mean it.
Edgy.
I don't know how prevalent like that sort of thinking, because now I feel like that's very like a common thought is like, oh, like break free of the monotony. I wonder how many people were saying that sort of thing in 1999.
Well, that's why I feel like this movie was so groundbreaking. Yeah. Because these conversations weren't really happening. We're so not centered. I'm like not even in frame.
Come over here.
I need to move over, everybody. Sorry,
Come
I'm like
over
very
here.
in frame.
It's because I smell. Dang, we said that like 2 episodes in a row. I don't think I do actually smell.
Look how much room you have.
Oh, sorry. I'm just vibing over here.
We're fine. Back to the movie.
Anyway, what I was saying is... What was I saying?
Breaking free of the monotony.
Yeah. I don't think that many people were thinking that then, but I think for its time, it was probably like very groundbreaking in terms of like the perspective that they filmed it at, the filters, like that sort of thing. Because I feel like, especially early 2000s, that kind of exploded, like the filters. Yeah. You know? And we got so much of that. I wonder if that was like one of the first that really did
I feel
that.
like it could be, because that was definitely such an intentional choice in the color, which as a filmmaker, I think it's something a lot of people don't put enough effort into is coloring their films.
Is this a slight?
No, I was laughing at you because you were like playing with the pillow weird.
I was just getting it ready because I like the difference that we have with the pink and the green. Did anybody notice that?
Yeah, pink and green pillows.
Because we're opposites.
Yeah.
So he wakes up. That I also wanted to block out of my memory. The disgusting goop birth.
Oh, I
that
hated
he
that.
had.
You know, he shaved his whole body for that.
Yeah, well, I could tell. Yeah, he did have his eyelashes still.
Oh, he didn't. Imagine he's like shaving off his eyelashes.
They take so long to grow back.
I would never.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't even shave my eyebrows.
Oh my God, I would not shave my eyebrows.
They're very important to me.
I would not shave my eyebrows. I would be too scared they weren't going to grow back.
Yeah, they might not grow back properly.
I know.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, people used to make fun of me for having very thick eyebrows, and now...
I know, and me too.
Well, actually, it's kind of like, now it's just like, you have to have your natural brow, but I'm still on my 2014.
Yeah. But yeah, he, in that scene, he like totally shaved his whole body. I remember the first time watching this movie too, and I was super young, so I wasn't thinking like deep thoughts about this movie, but I was so confused. I did not know what was happening.
Really?
I was so confused.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, I was like,
but yeah.
10.
So from that perspective, that I couldn't parse into a religious thing that I could think of.
Yeah, you're like, this isn't religious.
Definitely like a trans thing to me. Like you are finally born into the person you're supposed to be.
Yeah,
and like that was a real birth situation.
Yeah,
they birthed him.
Yeah.
That was gross.
It was really
We're
gross.
both very averse to birth.
I did not like that.
I can't say it anymore.
Oh, when he pulled the thing out of his mouth, I get like choked up thinking about it. Not like like I'm gonna cry.
like literal
choking. I'm joking.
Yeah. That's like such a nightmare for me. Like imagine being in surgery. By the way, I just recently had surgery. I don't remember a second of even any of it. I don't even remember going into the OR.
Yeah. You just woke up.
Yeah. I just woke up and I had like an ice pop in my hand and I was like, this is my favorite flavor. Actually, I was being very loud. I was acting goofy.
Yeah.
Ryan said I was saying stuff.
I wish I was there. That's so funny.
I'm so glad you weren't. So he had his whole birth and then he goes through his like training programs and stuff. We do meet some characters. Don't get too much of them. Tank, cutie. Love
Tank
him.
is such a cutie.
I'm trying to decide if I'm like physically attracted to him or if it's just his personality that I'm attracted to.
Yeah, he's very cute. And I think cute. Mouse is very cute too.
I didn't like Mouse.
What?
He reminded me of somebody. Let me just bleep this out. He looks kind of... Doesn't he?
Don't say that.
Yeah, but just
I always
like
connected with Mouse.
Like gangly.
Yeah, a little bit.
I got an iffy feeling about
when
Mouse.
I watched it, I thought I was Mouse.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't strike me.
I don't think
as
I'm Mouse anymore, but I was.
I don't see you as any of the characters yet because I would have seen you as Trinity, but I'll tell you my thoughts on that. We also met a character I was very excited about.
Tell me.
Because I was right in my prediction.
Oh.
I knew that Cypher was going to be bad. Let me tell you how I knew.
Which is where, if you're watching this, you probably got to the scene, but the scene that we ended with was the reveal that Cypher was working with the agents.
Yes. Which I low-key agree with him, though.
I'm going to say what I have to say about that.
It checks out for me, though. But okay, so here's my thoughts. As soon as I saw this man, I was like, and then as soon as he spoke, I was like, that's
evil.
No, he's the bad guy in Sopranos.
Oh, is he really?
Yes.
And you're watching that right now,
yeah,
aren't
I'm watching
you?
it for the first time.
That's so funny.
No spoilers. He's
Typecast.
currently in this season. He's my least favorite character. He's so annoying. I'm like so ready for Tony Soprano to kill him, but he won't do it. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, he's going to be the same character that he is in The Sopranos, which is just a sneaky bad guy.
I think that's a safe assumption, especially because typecasting is real. Like, if you're cast as a bad guy once, you're going to get cast as a bad guy
But he also,
again.
it wasn't really that hidden, because like he was being
weird
like,
to Trinity.
Yeah, he was being weird to Trinity.
Yeah, whatever he was saying to her, it was like clearly he's got like unresolved feelings for
Yeah.
her, and she does not reciprocate.
I didn't get that at all, but I did get like if I was looking at it in the lens of religion, I would say he was like, he's almost like a heretic a little bit.
Okay.
And like she was like fully believing, and he's like, oh, like I'm a naysayer or whatever he was saying. So yeah, I was like, no, this guy, like, it didn't even seem like a big twist. Like, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a shock.
I can't speak from my experience because it was so long ago. I don't know
You were floored.
I like
But you
don't
were also
remember
10.
what my experience was revealing that he was a bad guy.
Yeah. Oh, the plugs on the back of their heads.
Yeah.
That was a fear of mine when I was
I don't
younger,
like it. Yeah.
That I like had some sort of plug. I feel like that was like a very, in our childhoods, like a very prevalent, scary story thing. Like that you were going to get like unplugged.
And you know that's
or
not their only plug.
The choker. Yeah, they have them on their
They have
arms and
all
stuff.
down their back, all down their legs. Yeah, they're like all plugged in.
So off-putting.
Yeah.
But Tank didn't, because he was a natural baby.
He's a natural born baby, Tank and Dozer.
Yeah, Tank and
In
Dozer. Zion, which is so fun, because didn't you go hiking there?
In Zion National Park. I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
The lost city of Zion National Park.
Is that why you went there?
No.
I thought it was super cool that they could like load knowledge into your brain.
I loved that.
One weird thing I thought was like when Tank was like, oh, did you sleep last night? You're going to sleep well tonight. And then he's like loading him with knowledge, and it's like that's what makes him tired. But it's like you're just pressing like enter on a
Yeah,
program.
but think about when you're using your computer for a really long time, it starts overheating and stuff.
Yeah. And
kinda
then it
like
needs
that.
to take a nap. But yeah, that would be so convenient. Oh, imagine just learning languages
See,
like that.
That's the only reason I feel like I would be a red pill, because that would be so great, but you don't have that information when you're choosing.
Yeah.
So based on the information given upon choosing, I'd be a blue pill, but like with all that information, I'd be a red pill.
The real world sucks though.
The real world does suck.
So
The
it's
conversation
not
around
worth
food
it.
was really funny when they were talking about
I was upset
food.
about that, because you know what? When they were serving that glop, I liked it. Did you ever eat farina as a kid?
No, but I feel like it's kind of like what he was saying, like tasty wheat or whatever. It's the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Tasty wheat is
But he's like,
farina.
maybe tasty wheat tastes like tuna fish. That's really interesting.
That's something I actually talk about a lot. If we have any eye doctors, I know we don't. If we do,
Maybe.
But you know what? I always wonder, like, how do we know
That we see colors the same?
We see colors the same.
I don't think that we do.
like we have some friends who are colorblind.
Yeah.
who
Do
we
not
just
see
saw
colors.
today who was like, this is a great gold color, and we were like, that's green.
definitely green.
We both see greens.
Yeah.
But do we see the same green?
The same green.
That's always the thing I think about.
Yeah.
You know, Ryan and I actually have these conversations, not about color, but about dimensions all the time. Like, what would happen if we like woke up and everything was exactly the same except for
like colors.
like this small thing? Yeah. Like, and would we know?
I feel like you'd get used to it too.
Yeah, but I like wonder, like, if we switched bodies for a second, would everything be the same?
It would be cool.
Well, everything would be a little shorter.
Just a little shorter.
I am tall. People on the internet don't think I'm tall, but I am tall.
Yeah.
I'm tall, much taller.
You're
but
much
not
taller.
much taller. But
She's like 6'5". And
no,
I'm like,
I'm not. I'm like 5'7".
yeah, I'm 5'4". So, but that conversation around food I found so interesting because I've said it like 3 times in this episode. I'm like, what is real? But what is real?
Nothing.
Nothing is real, but everything is real.
Because
if you
we're in a
think,
simulation.
Yeah, but if you think it's real, then the simulation is real because it's tactile to you and you're experiencing it. So
Yeah.
it is real.
So that actually leads me to the next part I wanted to talk about, which was the sparring between Neo and Morpheus.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting, and it actually reminded me a lot of Star Wars in a weird way.
Yeah, that's
because it was
cool.
like kind of like that do or do not, there is no try. Like, stop trying to hit me, just hit me. Which I was like, that was a cool little perspective. Yeah. So I did enjoy that. And I think it's a really interesting take on, like, in order for him to have the experience being the one, like, doing what he has to do in order to save the world, I guess, is that his goal? Couldn't be me. Yeah. Yeah, like, in order to do that, he has to believe all of these things, which is hard. I mean, that's not an easy thing. But also, at the same time, if I just could load knowledge into my brain, couldn't I just be like, yeah, I can hit you? You know what I mean? Like, is it that hard?
But you're also, it's not like he's dealing with an NPC. He's dealing with another person who also has the same knowledge and more experience.
Yeah, that's true. But then that was also making me wonder, like, can he just, like, get some sand to just, like... and hold on to him.
But
and then
I mean, this is day one. This is day one. And, you know, thinking about Tank and Dozer, if they were born in the real world, this resistance has been happening for a really long time.
Yeah. They said, you think it's 1999. I think it's closer to 2199 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's not that far into the future.
They're going to be asking us for red pills and blue pills soon.
Blue for me, please.
One blue, please. Thank you.
Check, please. The other interesting thing, one thing that kind of points towards the fact that he might not be the one, is that he did fall when he was doing that jump test.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I thought the movie was setting up the audience to believe he was going to make the jump. Because if he was the one, he'd make the jump.
Yeah.
But he fell, which is doubt. Okay, this is like a religious reference, because you're like,
look at that,
because it's all faith-based. If you believe, you know, like, so.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I actually hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, you're right. It's like you have to have faith. No. Even is it?
Yeah.
So how many points? We gotta have our audience vote.
Is this a religious movie or is this a trans movie? I actually think I was making a joke about it being religious. It just kind of came to my brain, but I think it was more about like the real versus not real thing. It's real if you believe it is real. So if Trinity believes that he's the one, what'd you say?
Same with God.
Same with, that's true.
So yeah, we're getting a little bit of doubt. I mean, his name is Neo. I know he's the one.
But it's a big question.
I think he's the one. This movie's about him. So that would be crazy.
Yeah.
If he isn't the one. But yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to watch the second half.
Yeah. He dies. I actually do have a theory.
Everybody dies.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I have a theory. I have people that I think are going to die. But yes, we'll talk about the squiddies.
Yeah.
Love them. Just kidding.
They're the best.
I love little squids.
Killing everybody.
Yeah. Just love killing.
Yeah.
But no, I don't like the squiddies.
No, I mean, everything outside of the Matrix freaks me out. It's really scary.
Are they underwater?
It feels like they're underwater. I think that they're in some sort of tunnel system.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really described where they are, but did we get the name of the ship? They're on a ship called the Nebuchadnezzar.
I mean, I heard it.
I knew that you weren't going to remember it. I wasn't sure if they said it, but they must have.
They did.
But I don't know, like, exactly where they are.
They did call it a hovercraft, so I was like,
it's
but
some
then
sort of
when they show it, it does look like it's under, because everything's so blue.
No.
It looks very underwater. I don't know.
I think the blue is probably just the contrast of being in the Matrix and them sucking the blue out of all of those shots.
Yeah. So then we get, obviously, Cypher is eaten with Agent Smith.
Yeah. The hottie. Well, I mean, he has a conversation with Neo.
I think that Neo got the vibe that he was not a good guy.
Yeah.
So
he seemed like upset to be there because he's like, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I would have taken the blue pill.
Yeah. That was like,
you're
same
bro.
Girl. I get it. But yeah, Neo was like, no, I would never. I'm
happy.
Too good of a guy. And I was like, couldn't be me. But yeah, so then he's like eating steak. I thought he had a really interesting conversation when he was talking about it, because he was basically just saying he knows it's not real, but...
What is real?
Like, what
it tastes delicious.
Yeah, it tastes delicious.
My brain is saying it's juicy and delicious. It's juicy and delicious.
And it did look like a good steak. I know you don't eat meat, but...
Yeah, it's the eating thing, too. He had, like, a lot of mouth noises that were just...
Ryan and I always point this out in movies now, but it's like, it's always bad guys eating.
I think because there's something really off-putting about watching someone eat.
Disagree. So he makes a deal. Basically, he's like, I don't want to remember any of this. He's supposed to get the codes to get into Zion, because that's what Agent Smith wants. He doesn't have that, but Morpheus does. So he's like, I'll get you the guy. But then he like gets a little greedy, because he's like, oh, I also would like to be like famous and rich, so let's do that. Which,
not a bad idea.
It's not a terrible idea. So,
but the thing with Cypher, he has regrets.
Yeah.
If you had regrets about taking the pill, you wouldn't turn on your people.
No. I wouldn't do
what Cypher did.
I wouldn't do
you
what
would.
Cypher.
That would be. I mean, I think you'd be at Zion though. I don't think that you would be helping with. Yeah. Because that's the thing. Not everybody who gets pulled out of the Matrix. That's not all of them. A lot of them are back on Zion. So if you got pulled out of the Matrix, you'd be there.
I would just be off.
But the thing with Cypher,
somewhere.
you know, he's a bad guy, but he's also a coward because he's willing to turn on all his friends, but he doesn't want to remember any of it. He wants to forget. And I think that's really smarmy.
Yeah, no. So I said in the beginning of this episode that, like, I get it. Because I do.
Get it. I get it too.
If I took the red pill, I would fully 100% regret it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to betray the people that took care of me. But why is he even part of the resistance if he hates it so much? Like, he should just dip out.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't know any of their origin stories or how they got there or anything like that.
Yeah, but he's been there for 9 years, he said. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. It was hard to gauge how old he was because that was another thing Morpheus said was we usually don't pull people out as old as Neo is. But I would have put Neo at probably like 25, 26.
Yeah, and Cypher appeared to be a little bit older,
maybe in his 30s.
But maybe being outside of the Matrix ages you a little bit because it's a crappy life.
Yeah.
So,
they don't have any skincare there.
No, they do not. Should I tell you my predictions? I have a lot written down.
Oh gosh, I can't wait.
So I did tell you as soon as I saw Cypher, I knew he was evil. I did see a lot of religious undertones, but I also understand a lot of the trans undertones, like being reborn and stuff. And like I said, I do think there's some overlap. Like, I think that you can use both of those things as a metaphor for kind of the same thing.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's just the person is going to interpret it how they interpret it.
Yeah.
And I also don't think that, like, they were outrightly trying to make it obvious that there were undertones of the trans experience because they couldn't.
Yeah,
in 1999,
you have to dig
couldn't.
into. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. I also tried really hard to listen to the audio cues. And I thought it was really interesting how, like, when bad things were happening, like when the agents were on screen, it was, like, very glitchy. So I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Because they, like, glitched.
In the Matrix.
Yeah, there's a glitch in the Matrix. And also, there are a lot of shots that we saw in part 1 that I think are, like, kind of iconic. I don't know if this is, like, a Matrix thing, but, like, that, like, come hither thing.
Oh, yeah.
That they do.
I mean, I think that might be part of that particular type of martial arts.
Yeah.
But I associate it with the Matrix.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah, because Morpheus does it a couple of times, and I was like, I've seen that.
Yeah.
But, like, I haven't seen it in, you'd be surprised how many martial arts movies I've watched. Yeah. So here's my predictions on who is going to die.
Okay.
Tank is going to die.
Okay.
That's what I think. He's too cute. He's too happy.
Oh, Tank.
And then I also said, if it's not Tank, it's going to be Mouse because he's so quiet.
Quiet as a mouse.
Yeah, he's quiet. I feel like, and this is just like a product of knowing movies from that time period, they won't kill people who are important. Like, they won't kill Trinity. I know that. But, like, they'll have a character that's not important that they'll kill. So, like, Mouse, probably going to die. Tank is a little bit more important, but I do think he's too happy to live.
He's too good for this world.
He's too good for the world, and I just think he's gonna die. I don't know how, because he's not in the Matrix. But maybe he just, like, dies of starvation.
They just, like, leave him there. Yeah, everyone's stuck in the Matrix.
Something bad happens. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he just dies. I did say I think that Cypher is obviously going to betray them, and then someone's going to die, either Mouse or Tank. But obviously Neo's going to stop him and kill him. And then I also said, so here's my thoughts on Trinity. I feel like in the beginning, she is told as, like, this cool, badass hacker character. And then as soon as Neo gets introduced, her entire purpose is to be obsessed with him.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
So, like, at first
bit.
I was like, oh, this is the Leah. Like, as soon as she was, like, there, like, being a hacker, I was like, this is Leah. But then she's like, she just becomes Neo's prophet. I actually don't know what prophets do.
I don't know either. She's his disciple.
Becomes one of his disciples. And she's just like, she's so clearly in love with him. Like,
oh my gosh. You think there's a love story?
Yes. I mean, I think action movies from the early 2000s, yes.
A love story?
There's going to be a sex scene. I already know it. That's fine. But I mean, like, Neo doesn't seem that into her, but he's also kind of involved in this whole, like, new world.
Yeah, I mean, his whole life just got upended.
Yeah, but so then originally my thought was Morpheus is going to die because he's God, and then he's going to have Jesus, aka Neo, take over. But then I was like, wait a second. I already know the end of the movie. Neo's going to die, and he's going to be resurrected because he's Jesus. And if that happens, that is confirmation that this is a religious movie. The end.
No,
Done.
This movie has many interpretations.
If he dies, he's going to come back to life. because he's Jesus.
There could be many reasons why someone comes back to life.
So either Morpheus or Neo is going to die, and either way, I'm going to say it's religious.
See, the Wachowskis knew how to get a good audience. They're like, well, it's a trans movie, but we're going to pretend it's religious.
Look at both sides.
And the LGBT people were laughing at the end of the day.
Secretly, like, you thought this was
You
a
thought
God
this was
movie?
about God?
No, but like I said, I still think like if a religious person watching it, I would be so curious from a religious perspective on this movie, like somebody who is like religious is the word. Can't think of another one. Somebody who like actively is in believing and stuff. Like I would be so curious to hear their perspective, because to me I would be like, I don't know, like it strikes me as like slightly sacrilegious to be like, this is Jesus, by the way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I feel like one of them's gonna die for sure.
Okay.
And if Morpheus dies, then Neo's gonna take his place. Yeah. But if Neo dies, he's just gonna come back to life and he's gonna have a little halo or whatever. Yeah.
Little halo above his head.
What would be really interesting is if they all betray him and then he comes back.
Ooh.
Like a real.
That would really be religious.
That would be a real religious thing.
Well, what do you think of the movie so far?
I think it's interesting. I like it. I will say I think there's some things that I'm like, this is like a geek movie. I mean, obviously.
I think this is the nerd movie.
This is a nerd movie. Yeah, I'll give it that. I'm surprised that more people in my circles haven't obsessively talked. Like, I feel like if I watched it when I was younger, actually, I don't know. Would I have made it my personality? Probably not.
I don't know. I did.
You did?
Yeah, I was obsessed with this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, my first TikTok I ever did was a transition with Trinity.
I remember that, and I was like, who is that? So I was like, what do you dress as?
It was right when The Matrix 4 came out.
Oh, did you like it?
I went to see it in theaters. I did like it. It had a mixed review. I liked it. We're too far away for us to talk about it.
Okay.
You have 2 other movies to see first.
Yeah. Well, now I know that Trinity lives. I don't think Trinity is going to die. I don't think that anybody important is going to die, but there's not that many important people.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Morpheus is important, but I still think that, like, he could die and have Neo take, like, be the
Messiah.
No, I was, yeah. No, I was going to say, like, the leader of the ship.
Ship. Neo, the new guy, taking over?
He's the one. Do you believe?
I have thoughts, but I can't tell you.
Okay, well, let's go watch the rest of it.
All right, well, we just finished watching the first half of the movie. You know that because we just did a whole podcast about it. We're going to watch the second half. I'm still not good at this outro. Until next time, stay geeky.